Hi everyone, here we are with Jake. Jake came to me because he mainly suffered from lower back pain, but he had a very interesting, he called it disability, but yeah, we can say it's a disability. Can you describe a little bit what happened 7 years ago?
So I fell about 20 foot off the side of a stairwell and landed on my head and my neck, which left me with permanent no smell or no taste. So I now kind of recovered a little bit with taste, so I've only got salt and sugar sensation. But yeah, I've got no smell whatsoever.
And this happened on 2013. A little bit about his past medical history. At 14, you had an arthroscopy on a shoulder because you was playing rugby, and you had some kind of injury. Then other injury, you said you broke?
So I broke my nose at 16, and that was corrected at probably 22.
So fracture of the nose and an operation on the nose.
Yes.
After a few years.
Yeah.
Then he had this major injury with a fracture.
Yeah, with a fracture of the occipital.
He has an occipital fracture, which lost him with this disability. Despite all of this, in 2016, you were able to conquer a Guinness World Record. So,
yeah. So we rode across the Atlantic from Europe to Brazil in time for the Olympics, and we got Guinness World Record for that. And that took 55 days at sea of constant rowing for 2 hours on, 2 hours off, 24 hours a day.
Okay, perfect. So he has been told by doctors that you will never recover the sense of smell because there is a scar inside the brain. So yes. Definitely you had lots of MRI.
Scans, CT scans, MRIs, and was assessed by a doctor because I ended up suing the building because the building was dangerous. So I had my legal documents there stating that I wouldn't get my smell or taste back. So.
Okay, perfect. Now I will do some tests, some biomechanical test. I ask Jake to perform just simple neck movement like an extension. Can you do an extension? Yeah. Okay. As you can see, when he does it, the head goes a little bit this way, okay? Return back. Can you go on a side? Can you do a rotation?
To my right?
Yeah. And the other one? Okay, you see the difference, okay? This side is a little bit more stuck. This one, side flexion, okay? And the other one, okay? Is more tender that way. When you try to bend that way, all the body try to compensate. You can tell there is an asymmetry, this shoulder is down. He plays a lot of sport, but you can tell here, this shoulder, the right one, is definitely lower than the left. If I try to push down here, moves a little bit, the other one doesn't move at all. Can you please go on your back now? Okay, now please try to do a side flexion of the spine.
To my right?
Yeah, this is the right. Okay. Okay, definitely there is a difference, yeah? On the left moves better than the right. Okay, now please lie on your back with the head there. Let's do some other tests. The usual test on the pelvis. This is just a quick test that shows the patient that there is an asymmetry, a misalignment. It's very easy. You grab the pelvis and you lift the left and the right. So, what do you feel?
There's a lot more movement on the left.
On the left. So when I lift here, it's a lot more flexible. Here is very heavy. If I go around and if I do other tests, for example, do you feel the difference on the muscle when I push here and when I push here on the quad? Do you feel any difference? It's milder. The difference is not big, but this side is harder than this one.
Yeah, I can feel it now.
Yeah. There is a lack of extension. Not because there is a problem on the knee, but if I put the leg straight, you see, the leg doesn't go down at all. The other one is a little bit better. It's the position of the pelvis that causes this. He had also prolapsed disc L4S1, yeah?
L5S1.
L5S1. Okay. Now, what I will do, definitely there is a lot of injury there. Fracture of the nose and fracture on the occipital bone in two different occasions. Plus, there is the operation on the nose, which is an injury as well, because there are scar tissue inside. So I start from the opposite side and I check all the spine, coccyx to the head, but I will start from the opposite just to exclude other condition, okay? Do you recall any other injury, any fall on the coccyx, any other fracture, ankle sprain?
No.
Nothing major. Okay.
A slight ankle twinge in the anterior ankle, but that wasn't really a massive issue. I've got arthritis in my big toe in the right as well.
Okay, yes, arthritis. If it this side is very heavy on the sacrum and more heavy on the ilium. So the sacrum is very blocked. This is connected with the nose, 100%. Do you recall which side of the nose is the worst?
If you look, it's gone. If you look at the nostrils, you see it's gone to the right, then to the left.
Okay. Which side you took the impact?
So it opened up this side because it went up.
Perfect. In fact, if I go to the sacrum, there is a very strict connection, nose and sacrum. The sacrum is this bone here. It's this one. Okay? So, if I go to the sacrum, I try to lift the right and the left. Here is completely the opposite. The left side, it doesn't move at all. Okay? Now, I check the coccyx and I go up till the head. Lift a little bit your pelvis. Okay, put your weight on me and relax. Take a deep breath. Obviously, the pelvis has a big rotation. When did you discover the disc problem?
When I was at university my first year, so when I was probably 18 and a half.
18 and a half, and you already had the nose fracture?
Yes.
Okay, so for me it's very clear. So imagine a guy of 18 with a prolapsed disc. 100%, because there is this big connection, nose and sacrum, I am sure 100% nose fracture misaligned the pelvis and then the disc over the time prolapse. So there is a rotation in between L5 and S1. If I go to the paraspinal muscle here and here, this side is completely lifted. So my hand goes in quite easily, more on this side than this one. And if I try to lift the paraspinal, soft, you feel? Very hard. So this side is hard, is heavy all the way, very, very close to the spine. So if we go here, just relax, put your weight on me. This side, try to feel softer, and here is somehow, all the left side is more hard, it's more tense. But anyway, the lumbar spine, I grab it, I pull it, but there is a mobility. Take a deep breath. When you breathe, the spine does what it should. So the lumbar spine needs to go down toward the bed. Okay? Deep breath. Okay. Is it painful, this area around? Usually, this one. Okay. Because in this area on the upper lumbar spine, the spine is in extension, so I can put my hand very easily. Okay, it shouldn't be like that. The spine should touch the bed. Okay, why is like that? Obviously I know why. There is also to consider that he had an arthroscopy. An arthroscopy is an injury because obviously there are scar tissue. So if I try to move the neck left to right and right to left, you feel the difference? Right to left is completely stuck. Okay, it's a lot more tender than left to right. So the shoulder, if I try to move this shoulder and if I try to move this one, obviously here there is a lot less movement. Why? It may be an injury, but the arthroscopy is an injury as well. Okay? Here I don't expect to find nothing major. It should be uncomfortable, this part. Yeah, it's a bit uncomfortable because there is an area where the spine basically is twisted, is in flexion. It's not a problem, it moves enough, but unfortunately because of the rotation, it's a little bit uncomfortable. This area are usually the area where you feel the pain. There is nothing there. Okay? Take a deep breath. Okay? Out. Take a deep breath. And now. Obviously now we go to the interesting bit. So T1, T4 is the autonomic innervation of everything that goes on the skull. So it cannot be brilliant on him. Okay, in fact there is a lot of, you feel it, yeah? Then the middle part of the neck should move enough, moves a little bit, and then the top, obviously, it will be. There is this C2, C5, which is quite bad. C2, C3, which are the end of the innervation of the head, the trigeminal nerve. Okay, so C2, C3, it's even hard to find them because there is a fracture on the occipital bone is a very, very big injury. One part of the neck, the middle part, is okay, and then the bottom, both for shoulder and for the nose and all for the injury on the head, there is a big restriction on the upper thoracic spine. How do I approach a patient like that? Definitely this part is okay. There is all this asymmetry, they don't come from here. There is no need for a treatment, despite the fact that he has a pain on the lumbar spine. Okay? Today, if he goes to someone for a treatment, he would go for a lumbar spine treatment. He said he was seen by a chiropractor. He had to go regularly. How frequent?
Probably 2-3 times a week for summer.
2-3 times a week? Wow.
A family friend.
Ah, okay. Okay. So you had a discount?
Didn't pay.
I didn't? Okay. That's good. Okay, 2-3 times a week is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. Now, I will check all the skull. Always start from here. Take a deep breath. Here there is good mobility. Did you have any teeth removed? Any braces?
Yeah, I had 4 and I had brace. I had 4 teeth removed and a brace.
So here definitely the skull needs to be treated completely as a whole unit, let's say. So C2, C3, and then I will put my finger probably here or here. Here there is an area called bregma where the major fountain is the, I don't know if you feel, there is a little hole here. It's softer if you compare with this part. There is a little hole. We all have it.
Okay.
Or this part where the nose is connected with the frontal bone is called glabella. Let's check which one. What should I feel to say there is an injury there? I should feel when he breathes something like this. My hand that moves toward each other. I will try here. Definitely should be something because he had lots of injury in the area. Okay. Take a deep breath. Okay. So I'm just trying to find a position which is more comfortable to treat him. Deep breath. Okay, and now you can relax. Okay, another one. Again. Deep breath. Okay, this is not unusual. The condition is completely different, despite all the injury on the head, because this is the oldest injury, usually the oldest injury for the body perceives it as the main problem. When I touch the medial part of the neck and the arm, and I ask him to breathe, basically my hand closed. So The shoulder is the main problem. It's not even all the fracture on the head. The shoulder is completely blocked. We need to do some tests, and definitely the area, it will feel like the more restricted. So this is the head. In fact, it moves a little bit. If we go here, this is the real deal. And if I move here and here, you feel very stuck. Here moves, and here it does. Yeah, you feel the difference. So this area is the brachial plexus. It's a bunch of nerve that innervate most of all the arm and most of these areas of the pec and other muscle around. And collarbone has the innervation from the head, accessory nerve, but this bunch of nerve, basically, wherever you injure, even if you fracture a little finger here, you will have the neck that this side doesn't bend anymore. In fact, when he was standing and he went toward the right, there was more stiffness. I think I need to start with this. I will be like that for a while. I will need to expect an improvement in the mobility. David, I need to wait until the neck moves more right to left, and the shoulder here is completely rock solid. It doesn't move at all. This one, you feel the difference, yeah? This one goes down. Definitely, you can move it around, and this one is like that. I will do the treatment. I will open the camera again because the treatment can be long. I don't know how long it can be. I can try to do it on camera, but usually it takes a while. Let's try. My treatment is very light. The patient doesn't feel anything. What I need to achieve is an improvement in the mobility. So the pain is never important. What is important is the mobility, because the mobility creates misalignment. The misalignment then creates disc problem, inflammation, all those things. So the shoulder, because it makes a dislocation here, this area can dislocate completely the rib cage, and then you can have the lumbar spine pain. In fact, this is the oldest injury and seems to be quite relevant. So I always approach the body. I can make tens of mistakes during my assessment, but at the end I will find what the body of the patient wants to be treated, and definitely is the shoulder. Okay, Jake, so you won't feel anything. My treatment is extremely light. Okay? The body moves. I'm feeling a movement now. I need to bring this movement to a decompression. Let's call it decompression. The important is that the biomechanic of his body at the end will change. Okay? So the treatment lasted around 45, probably an hour, something like that. What did I do? I already noticed the main restriction was around here. This is the oldest injury he got. So an injury on the shoulder and an arthroscopy, which is an injury as well. What I noticed, this was the more restricted area. Even the neck, it wasn't that bad, but the lower part of the neck, in between the neck and the thoracic spine, there was a very, very big restriction. Painful, especially on the side flexion, right side flexion. Now, when I move the shoulder seems more soft. It's definitely softer. If there is a change here, there is a change everywhere. One test that didn't show was the rotation of the hip. It changed, he felt the change. It was extremely restricted, the internal rotation of this one. But anyway, the pelvis. The pelvis, one side was a lot more heavy than the other one. Now, this is the left one, and this is the right one. So there is definitely a change. I feel the pelvis is more equal. When I put my hand underneath the lumbar spine, it doesn't go all the way through. It's stopped. If I do some tests, there is a kind of a difference. Now, what is left to do? A lot of things. Definitely the shoulder moves better. is more able to be moved backward. The side flexion around this area of the spine, before a lot of movement left to right, no movement right to left. Now, if I move the spine left to right, there is mobility, right to left, there is mobility as well, okay? It's a lot less stiff than before. So, this one was the movement, it was painful. Now definitely it's different, there is still restriction, but it's different. Considering one session I don't expect with all those injury, he had lots of injury on the skull. So fracture, and a lot of dental work with also a brace. So it's a lot of things. Plus he played for a few years American football, you said. American football, so a lot of injury anyway on the skull. The skull and the pelvis, they are very connected. In fact, the pelvis is still quite heavy anyway. It's more similar left and right, but still heavy. What do I expect as a feedback from this treatment? He may feel more equal on the shoulder, on the pelvis when he walks. So more, let's say, swing movement when he walk, when he run. Take a deep breath. Do you recall where is the fracture? Because I tell you what do I feel. The area is a little bit more on the right, to be honest. Do you recall it or not at all?
Yeah.
This is this one.
The right part of
okay.
the occipital.
Occipital. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Right way.
Yeah. Definitely, you can see the different left and right. You see here all this bone area. Completely different. And also if I push here, you feel how harder it is, yeah? It's heavy, so if you hold the skull and you try to lift on the left, on the right is like 3-4 times heavier. So still there is a difference, is still ongoing. I mean, it will need more, simply more session. What do we need to achieve is the pelvis completely fluid. When I try to lift it left and right, it's more equal, but it has to be a lot more light than what it is now. The mobility on the hip, this one a little bit more stiff than that one. Before the difference was a lot bigger. This one wasn't moving at all. I expect the knee to go down more than this. The restriction, the tenderness on the quad has to be more similar. So every single joint, to be honest, even if I do a test like this, the pronation, this one and this one, you feel how softer is this one. But if we go on supination, this is harder. So the pronation is harder here, this movement is harder here, and the other movement is harder here. Okay? This is a sign of a misalignment. So every single joint, if you want to test every single joint and try to twist every single finger, every finger will move more externally or internally, and the other one, the opposite one, it will be the opposite. Let's check the spine. The slides. Okay, definitely there is a difference here. I can tell it's more, it bends a lot more, the spine, around this area here. Definitely now it needs a treatment on the skull. Take a deep breath. Okay. Deep breath. Again. Okay, so I already know this is the next treatment. It will take another 45 an hour. I will try to improve the symmetry in between the occipital bone on the left and the right. If I side flex the neck on the very top, this is the left and this is the right, you feel the difference? One side moves better, the other side is a little bit more stiff. So still a little bit of asymmetry when it does the test. The tests are still not as symmetric as they should, but what it changed, this one changed a lot. This one changed a lot. This one, the side is still a little bit more stiff. Now I will show you. Can you please stand and go in front of the camera? Okay, go a little bit. Okay, perfect. Now show me this movement, the rotation. Okay. Okay, on the back. Do it again on the back. Okay. Now, can you go on your back? Okay. Now, as you can see, yeah, please side bend on this side. The other side is still stiffer. Do it again. Okay. Okay, it's still stiffer. Look at the video if there is any difference. There should be, because the shoulder moves better, there is more mobility around here, the pelvis is more similar. When I touch the paraspinal muscle, left and right, the left, at the beginning, I checked this side was a lot more tender. Now, there is a difference, but it doesn't look as bad. So the goal is, the trick is, improve the mobility. Symmetry and mobility, they come together. So if the mobility improves, it means that your body is more symmetric. Otherwise, you cannot improve the mobility. So you feel tenderness on the hamstring, you feel a lot of restriction when he moves, when he and he said, because I have this, you can tell, because I have this limitation, I spend a lot of energy to stabilize your body. And so how do you describe it?
So if you're doing sort of unilateral exercises in CrossFit or single weights above the head, I'm not doing so heavier weight because I'm actually trying to more stabilize my body. So it's not concentrating on lifting the weight, it's actually wasting energy trying to just maintain the balance.
Okay, so I will see him again, I will treat him again, I will show you all the process, everything I will do, and we will discuss about everything. Test before and after on the pelvis, on the shoulder, on the spine. Definitely we need to achieve more symmetry. Just relax a little bit. As you can see, the shoulder is still not as equal as the other one. It's not on the same level. This movement seems to be improved. Definitely there is more mobility on the right side flexion around this area. So this is the part that improved the most. There is an immediate effect around here. So the spine seems to be more relaxed on the bed. That's why when I try to put my hand, he's lying on his back, I cannot go all the way through like before. The pelvis is more similar left and right, but still quite tight, because there are a lot of injury on the head. Head and pelvis are quite connected. Okay, I will continue to treat it. I will show you the following treatment, and then hopefully we will try to sort as much as we can. Okay, for the moment, thanks for watching.